Good morning, dear students. Today I will speak on sustainable management of soil resource, a regional perspective, that is the MSc courses resource conservation and management. Before going to discuss in detail, I would like to give my introduction to you, that myself Dr. A.K. Giri, Associate Professor in the Department of Organic Science, Bundelkhand University campus. I have been working in the campus since last 15 years as an associate professor, and I have academic career around 8 years from school I must say JNU New Delhi. I have extensively traveled in USA and participated in international seminar, presented technical papers, and I have also recognition in a international platform and received international award from Elsevier. Till date I have guided around 80 students including MSc, MPhil, MTech and PhD, also postdoctoral students in our campus in my specialized professional area. As you know, it is everyone's top priority to get a good food, the quality and quantity that to sustenance our everyday energy and vitamins. If we consider that is a topmost priority, then I think my topic would be most demanding and immediate concern to everyone's existence on the earth, and that is the sustainable management of soil resource, which will nourish our productive soil to give you this sufficient quality and quantity of foods. Now, why it is so much important? My topic I say it will be technologically a very novel techniques, and I know this is a very unique in the sense that it has been done in our campus looking into the requirement of regional soil resource to make it healthy and to produce a sustained way, and that to using the waste generated in the city, that nourishing the nutrient to the soil and also to the plants for a better productions and for a long time to support our requirement in future. As we know that this sustainability is required the basic importance, the material, that is the natural resource. Why it is important for the sustainable management? As we know that any type of natural resource that is available on this mother earth, while I am talking on mother earth, that means it is the mother earth which gives us nourishment, what is required for everyone. It is only the mother earth which will protect ourselves for any type of food in today and also in future. Now, this resource have three main characteristics. As you know that this is the resources which have three important basic characteristics, that is utility, that limited availability, potential for depletions. Now, these three important requirement characteristics of properties, that is very much concerned with our resource management. Now, coming to the classification of natural resource, that is renewable can be replenished over a period of time, and non-renewable which cannot be replenished over a period of time. And for this example, under the renewable resources, that is water, and non-renewable we can say that is coal. As you know, coal is a non-renewable resources because it has been produced by this earth, and it is perhaps 60 million years back produced by the earth movement, and now it will be once exhausted, it will be not available for our consumption or our need. Or you can say these 8 different categories of different types of resources, natural resources, and that is the first one, as you can find from this soil resources, the forest resources, wildlife resources, air resources, freshwater resource, ocean resource, mineral resource, and then the last the energy resource. And today our discussion will be very much concerned with the soil resource, that soil is a natural resource, and what is the basic concept behind it. As we know that soil may be defined as a dynamic natural body having properties derived from the combined effects of climate, biotic activities and modified by topography and on the parent materials. Hence, soil formation involves the destructive and constructive physiochemical process. Now, there are 4 types of soil found in Bundelkhand region. As I have taken this topic, that is the regional resource, that is the soil resource, that we have to consider our regional immediate source, how to maintain. So, that type of soil we have to first think what are the different types of soil found in Bundelkhand zone. That is the 4 different types. As we know that locally it is marsh, black soil इसको कहते हैं, और काबर, परवा, रक्कर और red soils. The typical composition of soil, basically there are soils which have the most which plants are very much adapted, that the most common type, that healthy soil will be loamy soil. And for the loamy soil, I can just like to show you, this is the loamy soil normal characteristic that compositions. You can find any types of typical loamy soil have 45% solid, that is the minerals, and out of that solid 5% will be the organic matter, and other 50% which will be likely to vary according to the environmental condition. They are the 25% water and 25% air, soil air. Now, that what we mean by the sustainability management and environmental sustainability. You know, the sustainability, it is defined as a meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generation for their own need, and it is based on the 3 pillars. That is, the first one is the environment, and second one that is the society, and third one, the most important pillar, is the economics. It is very much based on the symbiotic association of these 3 different pillars, because it require the combined beneficial harmonized action to go into a sustainable management of resources. These 3 pillars concept, from it is from this slide you can get the picture, that is the social and the environment, then another one is economic, and the front one the core one, that is called sustainability. This core one, sustainability, is very much a delicate part, which is a combined effect of all these 3, as I have told you. This is the what we can say, it is one of the symbiotic relation, is a sustainable approach from all these 3 basic components. Why there is a need for sustainable management? We know that today we have huge population pressure, and we have been adding around 2.5 lakhs people every day to the global populations, and unfortunately India being a country is a home for 18% of global populations, and only with support of 2.5% terrestrial land to produce food. Unfortunately, further there is a problem that we are facing today. It is the degradation of soil. Around 50% of the soil has been degraded, which is again a serious problem, serious concern in future production of our country, and that insecurity of food production is a serious concern for our future existence in a country like India. It is a burning issue that we have to focus on that soil, which is very limited, and at the other side the population has been increased. So, we have to maintain the soil healthy quality to produce more and more food. That is, with this condition we need to go for a huge vigor for a sustainable management of the resources. While going to discuss on this huge resource management, that sustainable management of soil, that is how to do it, and to my knowledge, what I believe and what I have observed, that in a regional basis we have a huge quantity and quality of macrophytes growing in water bodies, and mostly this type of macrophytes selectively have the selective properties. They have been luxuriously accumulating these nutrients from the wastewater, that includes nitrogen, phosphorus and some micronutrients copper, zinc. And during my 20 years of experience, I have already recognized, identified some certain plants, as you can find. You can find also my photograph in the field, where I have gone and identified some certain plants. You can see this is the plant Typha latifolia, this is Ipomia aquatica, this is the ranunculus, this is Eleucharis. These are the some selected potential aquatic macrophyte species found to grow, have huge potential to grow in a wastewater rich with nutrients, where they luxuriantly uptake the nutrients and they are having a promising resource rich with nutrients, which is very much demand for our agriculture productions. And looking to that context, we have gone for this vermicompost production, and one of my PhD students, those who have already completed work under me, I have already trained them how to get very good quality of compost, and this is one of the work PhD students who did work under me, and this is a very unique compost which is very good, a mineral rich, nutrient rich and all types of nutrients, is a very much high quantity, because it is already growing in the wastewater where the nutrients are creating an environmental damage, and that nutrients has been accumulated uptake by the plants, which has been recycled to form this compost, which is very much deserving and extensively required, or that can be very much demanding nutrients for our soil. This is the earthworm which has been used to produce this type of compost. This is the Aeschynia fetida, which is a very voracious feeder, and within a short time more amount of compost can be produced, and that is, this is the type of worms which is very much huge potential for composting this specific type of compost from the macrophytes found in this local water bodies. I wish to thank these macrophytes for many reasons. You know, these macrophytes may be nuisance creating, but to me I think efficient removal of nitrogen and phosphorus is possible by this type of plants, and fresh biomass is good source of fiber, fodder. Biomass is recycled into valuable vermicompost. Biomass is a source of biogas productions. Biomass is capable of production of ethanols and raw materials for paper production, capable of phytoremediation of heavy metals when it is grown in a contaminated environment, used as a tool for future of biomonitoring research. Now, the compost which are produced, these are the two types of waste we have used, that is the MMB, mixed macrophyte biomass MMB, cattle dungs. You can find these are the compositions which has been analyzed before the compost preparation. You can find the total concentration of this copper and zinc. It is more important point has to be noted. This is the in comparison to the cow dung, CD cow dung, it is very high, 320. You can find only 31 ppm cow dung. So, you can imagine how much potential this type of waste to fulfill the micronutrient content in our soil for a longer time to survive for a higher amount of quantity of production, which can replace the chemical fertilizer also. Now, some of these composition that which basic compositions will be giving you a very good quantity in terms of nutrient concentration, that is the treatment T1, T2, T3 and T4, and as I have highlighted here T2 composition, that means that is 25% water hyacinth, that is the macrophytes, aquatic macrophytes, and CD 75% is the best combination for producing a very good compost, which will be appealing tool, will be best most deserving or desirable compost produced for our agriculture to use. Physiochemical properties, you can see the T2 is having total nitrogen gram per kg 24.8 gram per kg, whereas this copper 95 ppm and total zinc is 191. So, this most important concern is the micronutrient deficiency in regional soil will be requiring a good type of nutrient, will be having this type of very good nutritional micronutrient rich nutrient, that is the vermicompost produced from the aquatic macrophytes from our wastewater sources. you can find from the slide, these are this nutrient concentration, how it is changing from that different combination of the waste, the treatment T1 to T5. In T5 this concentration is like this, and T1 it is little bit higher, and then it will be reducing these micronutrients, and these are these cadmium, although it is a bit toxic elements, and that has been found with this range, and this is a very much important for our understanding the properties of this waste at the vermicompost which are produced from this, showing the DTP availability of metals in the vermicompost. Now, in order to find this toxicity content of this compost produce, we have gone to analyze these toxic metals including the elements, micronutrients. That toxic concentration is much, this is cadmium, which will be I can say comparatively it will be higher in the T5, and T1 it is good, but in this T2 treatment, second treatment, what is 25 and 75% of MMB and cadmium concentration is very much suitable, and it is within the permissible level of the waste for application in agriculture. Some of the important aspect of today concept is 5R concept. It is also important for our sustainable management of agricultural land, and while we are using the vermicompost, we have to follow this techniques procedure, that is the concept of 5R, that is refuse, reduce, reuse and repurpose. While going to discuss on this basic principle, what we mean by refuse? By doing that, I mean when we are going to go for sustainable management of agriculture, we have to refuse the chemical fertilizer and pesticide application in agriculture, and same time we have to reduce the quantity possible. We have to reduce day by day the amount what is used today per hectare, that has to be reduced by application of this waste based compost. We can reduce the quantity of fertilizer, and reuse in the sense when we are using this fertilizer, chemicals or vermicompost, sometimes around 60% of the nutrients has going waste. That means we can think about how to reuse that type of nutrient which is already going waste. By looking to this point, we have to think that some of the plants which are growing around our croplands, they are some of the weeds, those who accumulate this type of nutrients. We have to identify and get into uses like making compost, or you can make this a fodder, so that these nutrients can be again reused for different purposes, and that purpose is to decide what are the different uses of that type of macrophytes which are growing around your croplands. And it may be fodder value, having it may be value for the fertilizers, it may be having some other uses as day to day requirement. We have to think and make it confident that we have to use that use it in a repurposely, so that the waste generated is almost not a burden to the environment, that we have to take care. In conclusion, I know I have shown you that India is having a favorable weather for huge plethora of aquatic plants, species occurring naturally in wild plants in lakes, ponds and any other aquatic system, most of which are useful as a source of biomass for vermicompost productions. The basis observation in our laboratory, as I suggested, as we have observed that this type of noxious macrophytes biomass can be used as a vermicompost, which will be appropriate technology for final disposal of large agronomic production of in our regional soil. The top problem which is what we are having today, that is the human population bomb. For any types of sustainable management resources, we have the huge population problems. So, while going for any type of management, we have to think how to control the population and their negative impact on the environment. So, every sustainable management is looking into how to control the human population, that is our everyone concern. Now, it is a sustainable management, it require a combination of efforts, it is a combined responsibility to make our health environment healthy. So, that the future of our nation for food security point of view, the quality point of view, and food that we require for our ever growing population, that is only possible when we will look into this our whole responsibility and efforts to produce sustainable or sustained way of management of resources.